What's going on, fellow A-Plusters? It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode reviews. We're set to get into Gotham Knights for you guys today. It is, in fact, Tuesday evening. Finally, just got the opportunity to finish watching Gotham Knights, looking over some of my notes, sitting with all the revelations and the details that we wind up getting here in the fourth episode that we're going to be reviewing for you guys today. And I gotta say, man, best episode of the season. I know we're only 4 episodes in, but man, it really does feel as though Gotham Knights has certainly sort of hit its stride. Really taking, I guess, the first 3 to 4 episodes to really establish the character, the world that we're kind of in. The mutant gang from last week's episode, maybe not the most daunting rogues gallery that they can certainly pluck out of Batman DC Comics, but leading into this episode, I think they've done a good job of at least building to this episode to give us some great revelations, finally give us something to really sink our teeth into when it comes to this mystery. And listen, in one of the past reviews that we did, I kind of compared Gotham Knights a little bit to Naomi. The idea of really no superhero costumes, right? The idea of really character focused, very mystery driven, very story driven sort of thing. What I like so far in regards to Gotham Knights is, again, 4 episodes in, they're actually giving us something, whereas Naomi was such a slow burn. And while I definitely enjoyed the story and some of the characters, there were parts of me where I was just like, look, I'm gonna need a little bit more than what we're certainly getting here. And for me, that's where Gotham Knights is certainly kind of fulfilling that need, if you will, and really sort of coming through. And again, this is a series that I was not expecting a lot from. And I don't know if it's because I have low expectations that I'm actually enjoying this show. But this episode in general, I find myself like talking back to the TV, audible remarks when something certainly happens, right? So for me, that's always a great sign that this was a pretty good episode. So been kind of impressed with Gotham Knights 4 episodes in. I certainly can't lie. So guys, let's talk about episode 4, shall we? Man, a lot definitely happened in here. So let's kind of cover the bases. First off, look, I'm a pros. I'm a big fan of the characters for sure. I've really been enjoying some of the interesting combinations that they've placed some of our characters with. This week we had who do we have? Stephanie along with Cullen. I thought that was an interesting combination. Turner with Harper kind of played itself out interestingly, and Robin, Carrie Kelly, um, with Dula, the daughter of the Joker. So, really fun time in regards to the idea that they can really mix and match and keep things interesting and fresh, certainly, all at the same time. I guess that's definitely one of the benefits to having a well-told ensemble and a cast that can really act. I'm actually becoming more and more impressed with a little bit of everybody on this team, honestly. Cullen, I'm still warming up to him a little bit here, but I have appreciated how I appreciated Cullen much more in this particular episode than I certainly have throughout the entire season so far. So again, really strong characters that are definitely coming through, that really have helped carry this season so far, and definitely continues to be a pro for me. The mystery continues to deepen, if you will, and I really just love the idea. Anytime really the Court of Owls come up, I think for me the idea of seeing Court of Owls in a live action adaptation just does something, because I don't recall us ever really tackling that except for maybe Gotham. I think Marcelino kind of mentioned that maybe at some point in time in Gotham. But for me, I almost feel like it's a great storyline you can always kind of depend on. So the fact that we get more talent information in here, and for me, the big reveal towards the end that Cressida gets found out by Turner in here. Then all of a sudden, sort of having a gun pulled on you. By the way, Turner continuing the show with his father certainly taught him, and reversing the gun on Cressida. I thought that was pretty smooth. Only to find the Court of Owls actually in the manor to confront Turner Hayes. And so I was a really big fan of this particular scene. The tone immediately sort of changed, got more serious than it certainly was. And the idea of them offering sort of that ability of like, hey, we can erase all this if you want, right? Like, we're that powerful, we can pull the strings necessary to kind of give you the life back that you certainly want. And we clearly see Turner probably thinking about it for sure, you know, but definitely falling back on his friends and not necessarily falling in line with the Court of Owls. And so just the fact that we get to see them face to face, and those owl masks are just incredibly badass. I truly want one for myself. I do recall when Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo did their run on Batman, when they did their Court of Owls storyline. I believe one of their issues came in like a deluxe edition or a deluxe set where it actually came with the Court of Owls mask. I never got the chance to purchase one myself, but I really want a Court of Owls mask. I think they look incredible, and it'd be just kind of cool to go to a convention and just kind of wear it around as you're walking on the showroom floor or something like that. Maybe, you know, look, there's a Fan Expo Dallas coming this summer. Maybe I'll try and see if I can find me a Court of Owls mask when I go to the convention. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, the Court of Owl reveal I thought was pretty fascinating in here, and again, getting the opportunity to see Talon try and kill somebody is always a plus, you know what I mean? So I appreciate the action that we wind up getting in here, getting saved once again. I mean, my goodness, Robin just constantly has her eye, it feels like, on Turner whenever he just like kind of leaves her sight, right? Like, I sort of picture if Turner's out at night and Carrie Kelly is not a part of the group, she's probably on the rooftops as Robin, checking out Gotham and maybe following along with you, and you don't even know that she's certainly there. So Carrie Kelly certainly showing her worth and coming in to save the day for Turner as they manage to certainly escape. I also really appreciated the mystery behind Felix Harmon, I believe his name is, right? The gentleman from Gotham about 100 years ago. Dula recognizes Talon's knife from somewhere, and she winds up finding a book, I believe, in the library that they have there, wherever they're hanging out at. Like a book of like murderers or serial killers in Gotham over like the past couple centuries, and she finds a gentleman by the name of Felix Harmon, if I'm not mistaken, that has those similar knives, and they actually refer to Felix as the Butcher of Gotham. He was a serial killer, and, you know, they're matching up his knife with the, you know, scars that are certainly being found on some of our victims' bodies, and I thought that really put everybody on a really great mission this week, where I almost felt like everybody's mission was pretty important and actually pretty intriguing to kind of see how they all turned out in here. So you know, listen, I'm gonna be honest, when they talked about Felix Harmon the first time and they mentioned the idea, they're like, what happened to him? And they turn the page and you see the man hung and he's got a mask over his face, I immediately said, nope, he's alive. The fact that you don't even show, again, I think this is like the principal rule of filmmaking or TV. I don't know. It's just one of those things where if you don't see the victim's face, they're probably still alive somewhere, and that tends to be the case a lot of the times. And so Felix Harmon apparently hung, but his head's kind of covered up. I mean, look, maybe he did die that day, right? Maybe he certainly did die, because what we did see at the end with the Talon is that despite the damage that this guy certainly took, his body was beaten, broken, and he managed to just sort of like reconstruct himself right there on the table. So there's definitely something supernatural or scientific going on with the Talon and the Court of Owls. So it is very possible that Felix Harmon did die, and he actually is under that hood and hung, and they have managed to somehow reanimate this dude and bring him back to life, and now he's sort of like that walking Frankenstein, you know what I mean? And so definitely the vibes that I get, and I'm loving it, man. Seeing the Talon kind of revive himself was such a cool cool sequence, especially just him with the Court of Owls sort of gathered around him. Not like they're giving him powers or anything like that, right? But it's just something visually appealing about that scene. So I thought they did a really great job in this particular episode. A lot of things certainly stood out to me. Again, I thought the combinations of some of the characters went a really long way. So yeah, man, pleasantly pleased. Give me an A for sure for Gotham Knights here in this particular week's episode. Now to get into maybe like the more nitty gritty and the details in regards to like some of the characters in here. First off, I continue to be more and more impressed with the Turner Haynes actor. The fact of getting to see his range here this week, the idea of betrayal, you know what I mean? Somebody, Cressida, finally admitting that really the entire time she's been a part of the Court of Owls, and you can really just kind of see that sense of betrayal and again that sense of loss with somebody else. And I think while I certainly haven't necessarily been that impressed with him as an actor, his crime scenes I actually find myself kind of enjoying. Same thing with like the Bruce Wayne funeral when he was talking about his dad. I thought that was actually a pretty nice scene also. So he's definitely growing on me in here, and I think he definitely did an incredible job of really showcasing some emotion here in this episode. So I kind of enjoy seeing, I don't want to say enjoy seeing, but they're doing a really good job of showcasing the struggles for Turner in here, and having a backup in his friend Stephanie Brown that's definitely going to be there for him. And speaking of Stephanie, again, going back to the idea of some interesting combinations, right? Stephanie along with Cullen in here. At first when she started talking about that she knows a little bit something about, I can't, let me see if I have it in my notes still, but when she was talking about kind of relating to Cullen a little bit, said relating to deadbeats and abusive parents sort of thing, I immediately thought that she was talking about her dad or something like that, right? But she actually brings up the fact that her mom is an addict. And didn't we just see her? No, I'm sorry, I was thinking of somebody else's parents. I was thinking of was the Marches, is that who they are? I was thinking of somebody else's family, but Stephanie Brown, we haven't seen her parents yet in this series. She's literally just always hanging out with Turner, but you can learn in this episode why she certainly doesn't like going home, talking about the idea that she just hopes when she returns home her mom is already sleeping, right? Like she's already waiting for her mom's bedtime because she just doesn't want to be around her. So the idea that we have somebody like Stephanie relating to Cullen and allowing their friendship to become a little bit stronger, I thought was nice, because of the fact that I don't think they've really had, or it doesn't feel like they've really had Stephanie interacting with the other members of the group until last week with her butting the heads of Harper. So the fact that now she's bouncing off of other characters aside of Turner, it's kind of cool to kind of see a little bit more about her past and how she really can kind of relate to some of the things that Cullen and Harper have definitely experienced. So yeah, she does bring up the fact that her mom herself certainly was an addict. So yeah, great connection that they wind up having here in this episode, and continue to just showcase her geniuses. I think they're trying to, they clearly located like all the past victims of the Talon over the past 100 years, and even found out who the Talon truly was in this episode by doing some of her genius tech science work. So yeah, Stephanie Brown certainly continues to impress, and the fact that her and Cullen got the opportunity to work together, I love that it kind of comes full circle in regards to the Rowe twins, because now you've got Cullen who's there to kind of back up Stephanie a little bit, right? Like we clearly still see Harper is certainly feeling some type of way towards Stephanie. She even brings it up here to Turner, and kind of similar to what we talked about in last week's episode. Turner explained, it's like, hey, you actually guys have a lot in common, in the sense that you guys are incredible geniuses. You guys were just almost split at birth, or just grew up significantly different. And we come to learn even further here from Harper, really just that resentment that she has towards Stephanie Brown because of the fact that she just grew up in a different area code or zip code, and wind up getting more opportunities. You know what I mean? And look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. That's very much a real thing. And you actually look at something like life expectancy here in the United States, it does certainly continue to drop, but depending on where you're at, your life expectancy alone could be incredibly different, right? Like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Where I live in Fort Worth, I'm not necessarily the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Literally, our life expectancy around here, I just found out last week, which is terrifying to know, is like 66%. Like our zip code is like 66, no, is like the age 66 of life expectancy, where I think the rest of Texas and like the rest of maybe the rest of the country is hovering about like 77, 78. So there is a lot of significant differences. And that, look, that's just life expectancy, not even talking about economic changes that you certainly might vastly see. Because I can tell you right now, on the other side of a highway, it looks pretty nice over there. You know what I'm saying? And so the idea of different zip codes, really just growing up in different zip codes truly can have such a massive effect on somebody's life, as minuscule as it may seem, certainly for some people. It really can cause some problems. But the fact that Harper is still holding on to that, making it feel as though Stephanie meant to kind of throw that stuff in her face, when she's really just like, there's really just a interpersonal struggle that she's definitely having to deal with and having to kind of sort of come to terms with. That, listen, just because you guys are different doesn't mean that you're any less than, right? Like, you're equal, if not more, because of what you can do. But unfortunately, the way your upbringing has been, the zip code that you've been, the parents that you've had that have certainly held you down, this is the situation you found yourself in. But that doesn't mean that that's who you are meant to be forever, right? Like, you can certainly change your colors and certainly change your ways, and really use those gifts that you have to really do something with your life. You know what I mean? So instead of holding on to the reasons as to what sort of kept you down or not appreciated all those years, you got to have that confidence in yourself, and really sort of push through that, and really just have some sort of self-worth, if you know what I'm saying, in that regards. And so I think the idea of calling, like, look, maybe if you just get to know Stephanie a little bit more, maybe you guys will realize you have a little bit something in common, right? And he gives her this great line that I love: don't judge her the way that others judge us. And ain't that the truth, man? Ain't that the truth? If we all just live by that motto. And I thought that was a really great point of view for him to certainly have. And I hope it's one that Harper at least does give an opportunity to, because and the actress that plays Harper continues to impress me. I said it in episode 1, there was something about her that really kind of stood out. So I'm glad that they're giving her sort of that type of role. You know what I mean? To not be judged for what I look like, but just who I am as a person. And so, great stuff, man. Great stuff in this episode, and I thought they certainly knocked it out of the park. Oh, and lastly, I gotta talk real quick about Robin along with Dula this week. As Dula winds up going blonde for us this week, as they go and hunt down the daughter to Felix Harmon that's actually still alive, in Eunice. I gotta say, this was a really great scene, I thought. The interaction between Dula and Eunice. I love the line of like, hey, look, we're both daughters from serial killers. I'm sure there's plenty to talk about, and plenty to talk about there certainly was. And the sense of talking, I think she mentions that, hey, look, my son still sends me like trinkets and stuff because he knows I like nice things. And we're like, your son's dead. Your son's dead, lady. But no one wants to certainly tell her that. But I did find it interesting that, again, that they go back, find traces of, like, I think who might have sent gifts to her, and come to find out it's Cressida. I think that's how they actually discover that Cressida is connected to the Court of Owls. But when Eunice just literally turns psycho, and she like brings Dula close and starts talking about her dad and how he killed some of the people and things like that, and then she starts talking about the Court of Owls and getting upset with them. Look, old people are already creepy, if you ask me, at certain times. Oh, that's okay. I love my grandparents. But just the idea of her lashing out like that and just turning on them, and her yelling down the hallway as they're certainly trying to leave, talking about the Court of Owls and stuff. Yeah, creepy stuff, man. They definitely, she definitely actually probably for me was probably like the best performance of the entire episode. And we had some pretty good ones here, if you ask me. So the Court of Owls are in the house, and I love how they're like, no, literally, they're really in the house. So it definitely all comes together in that sense. But again, another great combination of characters leading to another great scene. Quick honorable mention for Harvey Dent, Misha Collins fans out there. Okay, he's got my attention the past couple of episodes here. I will say I'm a little confused towards the end. You know, he tries to go and get the Court of Owls coin, but it apparently wasn't checked back in, and the lady thought he was checking it in, but he meant to check it out, and it wasn't there. And so he finds himself confused, and I'm trying to figure out the whole unlocking of the door thing, because she did find the, oh, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is going on with that one, guys. Let me know what's going on with the Harvey Dent situation with the Court of Owls coin. What I will say is even more interesting is Lincoln Mark got a coin. I love the fact that he's like, "Am I in danger? Hell yeah, you're in danger. Hell yeah, you're in danger, buddy." So it'll be like, I wonder if Harvey Dent's gonna put him on like witness protection type of thing now. I have no idea, but great stuff, man. Great stuff. And listen, guys, if there's anything that I missed that you guys want to continue to talk about, other storyline details, maybe big plots that I might have just gone over, somebody clarify that Harvey Dent situation for me, please. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. At the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions, but I always want to know yours. What did you guys think of this week's episode of Gotham Knights? Best episode of the season, if you ask me, but I want to know your thoughts. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below, and we'll definitely continue to have this conversation until next week's episode. So until then, guys, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.